After a string of mediocre or disappointing films, we're pleased to announce that we've now watched one of the best films of 2025, Warfare. So let's talk about it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cinematic Trinity, the podcast where we delve into the worlds of TV shows, movies and video games. And like that intro said, we're here talking about Warfare, the 2025 Alex Garland directed, or co-directed, film about a group of soldiers in the Iraq War.
Yeah, so the film is set, it's based on a real life scenario during the Iraq War in 2006, according to my notes. So basically there'd been a battle and there were some soldiers remaining in wherever it was that they were. I'd not written that bit down. And it basically follows their story of how they're kind of holed up in this place and waiting to be evacuated. It's only an hour and a half, which we love, don't we? We love an hour and a half film. I feel like that is the perfect film. All films should be an hour and a half unless you've really got something to say. And a lot of films these days are 2 hours and they really do not need to be. So it's very good to watch something that's an hour and a half. But it's all set in real time, essentially. So that hour and a half that you're watching the film is the hour and a half of warfare that you're seeing, essentially, but a completely different side to it. It's not the classic war film kind of tropes or anything like that. And it's all just from the memories of these Navy SEALs that were obviously there on the day and lived through it. It's all from their memories, and that's how the film starts. It says this is all just taken from memory. We're relying on people's memories, so it might not be 100% exactly what happened, or, if you went from a different perspective, you might be able to get a different thing, but it's based on the memories of all these people. And yeah, what did you think of it?
Well, like we said, it's a very, very good film.
It's a very good film.
We missed out on it in cinema, annoyingly, so it recently came to Amazon.
That is a shame.
So we watched it on Prime, and honestly, it's a pretty powerful movie. I think it's like, just in terms of telling this sort of small scale story, but obviously it's just about just the horrors of war and all that kind of stuff, and just again, this is a very small skirmish in the grand scale of the Iraq War, but it's still just the planning and all the different setup that goes into just getting a few soldiers out of this chaotic scenario is just very interesting to see unfold.
It is very interesting. It's really nice to see a different perspective on war, essentially, because I imagine that this is what maybe 90% of time in war is like, where you're just waiting, waiting for orders, or waiting to move. You're moving from one place to another. You're not really engaged. We don't really have trench warfare anymore, I guess. It's all about territories, and what I don't really know what war is like,
urban
but
warfare.
But I feel like this does offer a pretty different viewpoint, which is really interesting to watch. I feel like when the film first started, and because we'd watched some really terrible films recently, and we'd done a lot of films on the podcast where we were talking really negatively, and we were we just want to watch something that's good. We just want to watch a good film with good performances and a good script and good, not even necessarily action, but when it first starts, they're just talking. They're just talking. It doesn't start with that. It starts with Call on Me, and they're all sitting around watching it.
Yeah.
Similar to, and a lot of people compare that to the start of 28 Years Later, where he's watching the Teletubbies to begin with,
right.
and then they're filming the TV, and then it pans out to the scene, and it's exactly the same thing in Warfare, where they're watching the Call on Me video, and it zooms out to all these soldiers watching it, and that's a really great, it is a really good opening scene. It's a really good way of just here's everybody that's going to be in this film in one place. You've already got some sort of connection to them already.
Well, and it's the only use of music in the whole film. Because there's no soundtrack after that point.
Yeah. You're just, the soundtrack is just the sound of war
Yeah.
and, you know, the skirmishes that are happening and the sounds of the radio and people talking and people breathing, you know, that's the soundtrack of the film, which is very powerful.
It reminded me a little bit of when we tried watching Zone of Interest, because that's like one of the main things people talked about was like it's the background noise you can hear of like the camp and stuff like that. Because brief aside, Zone of Interest is a film about a guy who's basically this German like general who goes to run like a concentration camp. So he's moved his family next to one, so it's kind of like you can hear the camp in the background. So it's like the chimney stacks and screaming and gunshots and all that kind of stuff. We couldn't make it through. We couldn't make it through it.
We couldn't. And
I feel very uncultured that we couldn't.
I feel very uncultured and I feel very guilty that we couldn't sit through that film. But it was just a bit boring, wasn't it? But I couldn't tell whether it was boring. It was boring because it's supposed to be boring, because it's supposed to show that this was just those people's lives. Like, they were just living their lives and all this devastation was happening and the monotony of life continuing while there's these horrors happening. Like, people weren't sitting and thinking, oh my God, these horrible things are happening. Life just goes on, whilst it's happening. You know, it's almost like a meanwhile, you know, life goes on.
Yeah.
So, but we couldn't get through it. And I was a bit worried that it would be the same for this when they started talking. I think, oh my God, is this going to be another boring film?
Yeah.
But it's not, because it grips you in a totally different way. It doesn't grip you with action and great music and great cinematography and great shots, although there are some lovely shots and set pieces and stuff in it. It just grips you with a story, almost as if you were just listening to like your granddad sat telling stories about the war, you know, or somebody in the military, you know, literally just telling you a story about the war. It is literally just like you're listening to that, but it's just gripping from start to finish. You want to know what's going to happen to these people.
Yeah, like you say, there's also a lot of like military jargon. Like, we almost debated putting the subtitles on while we were watching it, because it's like, and it is very quiet, it's very like purposefully mundane at the beginning, because it is, these soldiers take over this house in like the, you know, just this random Iraqi family's house to like survey or do something there. But it's them just like talking, they're just waiting inside the house, there's a sniper like set up and he's like looking through his scope, and it's just him eyeing up like potential like insurgents or like people coming after him. So it's just like them being like, oh, guy in blue sweater, like look out for him, basically. You know, you're just sat there like, oh, what's going on? But then it's like, it ramps up when he's just like, oh, there's people going in the house now, there's people come up, you know.
Can see, it's all, you're not like, and this is what I really loved about the film, is because I've been moaning a lot recently about exposition and scripts being really poor. I've been moaning a lot about that recently, and like, you know, like I'm the big I am, like I could write a script when I definitely could not, because I've got no imagination whatsoever. But when we were watching it and there was all this like jargon and stuff through the radio, and we were like, we can't really hear this. I think you're not supposed to, like, you're not supposed to understand it unless you were in the military, in the American military, and you do understand it for whatever reason. You're not meant to just be like, I know exactly what they're saying and I know exactly what's happening. You're supposed to just learn it as you're going along, you know. So there's a lot of things they say where it was like, oh, you know, we need a show of force. And we were like, we don't know what that is. Like, that could be anything. That could be dropping a bomb or just firing a gun in the air. We don't know. But then you learn what it is by them just showing you, you know, and it just happens in the course of the story. They do this show of force, which is a plane basically just
kicking
going by really fast. It kicks up all the dust, which is an incredible shot, by the way, when you see that for the first time, and it's like a straight road. And it's filmed that way, like head on of the street, and then the plane just comes that way, and you can see where it does. I can't remember what it's called, where it's like the
like the wind.
In like in Star Wars, we watched the we watched it, didn't we? And it was the VFX artist reacts to Star Wars or something. And it was them talking about how it's really good that they're doing that like in CGI, because that's exactly like what does happen when the wind goes out. Anyway, it's a really great shot. I really enjoyed it. But that's the point. You're learning as you're going along with the film, and almost like with the characters, because there'll be somebody sat in another room hearing bits on the radio, but they don't fully know what's happening until they ask, and then they're told, and then they say, right, this is where we're going, this is what happened. So you just learn as you're going along, and I really, really liked that. That it didn't feel the need to be like, oh, we're going to be using lots of military jargon, and you know, this is going to be a little bit talky, but let's add some exposition in there. It's like, it's not, the story is just happening. You know, there doesn't need to be anything more than that. And I really, really liked it for that.
I think, like you kind of mentioned briefly earlier, there are some really good set pieces in this film. Like, it's not like your typical American action film where it's like, you know, them basically, you know, unloading their machine guns, firing at all these people, and it's just like, oh, go America, kind of like, yay, patriotism and all that. But it's just like, even like the gunfights aren't that grandiose. Like the inciting incident for this is like a grenade gets chucked in the house, but it's just like ting, and then like, it's not like this grenade and like, you know, slow motion, like big. It's just like kicks up loads of dust in the room, and then all the soldiers are like shaking up. Because they don't even
hear it straight away. It's like ting, and then there's like a couple of seconds
where for them to react.
Their minds are like kicking into gear, and they're like, what was that? And then they're like, oh no, it's not an immediate. And I just really loved loved the fact that there wasn't any soundtrack. I think it worked really, really well for this film.
No, and
I think it was perfect.
And there's like a big like explosion scene outside the house, and like, I really like that it makes this black like fog around it, like in the like with all the smoke and the dust and stuff, because it just feels like the soldiers that are there have been like transported to this other realm. Like, it doesn't feel like they're in like the Iraq War anymore. They're in like hell, because it's like some of them get like, you know, their legs blown off and stuff like that. And it's just like, God, like, this is so surreal. And then it cuts back to normal when they get inside the house, which is like this safe area, even though it's not, kind of thing. Like, it's really good.
That feels like the safe zone, but they're still not safe. But it's like different versions of safe, isn't it? You know, that somebody can't fire a gun directly at you. You know, they're not going to be stood right in front of you. You're ever so slightly more safe. But no, I really loved the use of that. And it is, you know, some of it's like the classic stuff, but it's classic for a reason. It's classic because it's what happens in real life. A bomb goes off and your hearing is muffled because a massive bomb's just gone off, you know, so of course you're not going to be able to hear properly, and you're going to have ringing in your ears. So it does all this stuff for all the right reasons, and it really does. It paints a very good picture, doesn't it?
It does. I'm gonna insert a little artistic recreation we've done of just what to expect when you watch Warfare.
We've not actually filmed that yet, so it might not happen.
Doing it from home.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Michael, what's happened? Michael, what's happened? Inside, Michael. Let's get you inside. I'm just going to close this door.
Oh! What are you twisting me for? Well, there you have it. That was that was to give you some idea of the sound design, because again, it is good how it goes from like this muffled like, and then it's just it just chaos, and like there's a good bit where like the radio chat is like really overwhelming, and then just one of them like unplugs his earpiece and it just goes back to being silent. Like, it's just the little chaos of like this film is just really good to like watch, and again, it keeps you tense and like on the edge of your seat and stuff, and it is just, again, it's just it's so basic but done so well. It's just, we need to get out of this house, but it's like so much more involved than that.
It feels like it's just, there's probably so many stories that are along a similar vein. We're in a house, we were surveilling somebody, they realised, they knew our position, they ended up knowing our position, so we had to get out. We tried to get out, a bomb went off, we came back in, some people were injured, and then we try and get out again. That is a very basic story, but I think because they keep it that basic and they're not trying to do anything more with it, I think that's why it works so well.
It's good that it's just so grounded. It's not like there's some like big mustache like Iraqi guy who's just like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like, yeah, we need to kill the Americans. Like there's like,
Yes.
it's all faceless like enemies.
You don't see it
in
from the enemy's point of view
No.
at all. It's all from
Yeah.
the Navy SEALs
But
point of view.
yeah, there's no like overarching villain like we need to kill this guy or
Yeah.
this guy's gonna try
There's
and come
no
and get us.
story arcs or character arcs or anything
That's-
like
yeah.
that. It's literally just, this is what happened and we're going to tell you what happened.
Yeah, and again, I think, you know, there are critiques of the film again from it being like from this American point of view rather than like the Iraqi, like, you know, the people they were fighting
Yeah.
against. So again, I can't really comment on it. Again, I don't feel like the film is too like America.
No,
yeah,
it's really
you know,
not.
It's
It's
just
really not.
you know,
Yeah.
it'd be like if you watched it on any other conflict, like in Vietnam or like Civil War, World War II, whatever, and it's
Exactly.
like 1917, you know, like it's just like
Yes,
the Germans
it's
in
not,
that film
it's
are
not
very
a commentary on how amazing the Brits are
No, no, no.
in World War One.
But
It's
yeah,
just
because they still
commentary on war overall.
yeah, and they do the same thing where it's like the Germans are just like these cogs and like they're just
Yeah.
obstacles. It's not like, oh my god, it's a German, like, you know,
Yeah.
this big, like there's no again mustache like German villain in that film being like ha ha ha.
Does
ha.
every villain have to have a mustache?
I don't know. Germans in a World War movie, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But that's yeah. It's just again very grounded war film. Like it's good. It's not like a Call of Duty. I mean, some people have said it's like a Call of Duty mission come to life, which I can kind of see. But again, it's not like this. All stakes rely on this battle being won. It's just these guys need to get out of here.
Exactly. It's not. There's no stakes at all. The only stakes are for the people actually involved in it. So
Yeah.
I think that. So it's a very closed story.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's an hour and a half worth of story, and that's it. You know, it's just one small part of it. But I
Yeah.
do think that, as I say, you know, that is probably a lot of what war is like, and how it's
Yeah.
these teeny tiny small victories. You know, of them. Some of them making it out, you know,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
some
yeah.
of them had to go back in and keep surveilling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just very interesting to see something from this point of view and to watch a film about war that
Yeah.
isn't a big action blockbuster
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
isn't about like World War II, you know.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I feel like we're at the point with World War II where it's starting to become a little bit more like poignant. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just. Do you know what? It was just it. You can't really enjoy this film, but because we've been watching so many like of the big films, we've not been watching so many of like the smaller films or the
Yeah.
films that have got more to say. So
Yeah.
it almost did feel like a bit of a breath of fresh air to just watch something that was a little bit different, even though it's not necessarily a film that you get enjoyment out of.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely say if you could watch it in the cinema, do, because there is, like, again, just the sound design and stuff like that, that's worth enjoying the film from that
Yeah.
perspective. But yeah, you're not going to walk out of it and be like, oh my god, that was the best, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, I mean,
You're not going to say you enjoyed it, but you might
not
say...
happy-go-lucky, is it?
Yeah, but you might say that was a really good film.
Yeah.
Because it is a good film.
Yeah, and, like, the acting as well that's on show here, it's not... No one's going to win, like, an Oscar for this. You know what I mean? But it's still good acting.
Yeah, it is really good performances, I think. And, you know, we don't know a lot of the cast in this. Like, the biggest names are Will Poulter, who we all know and love. Well, I hope that everybody loves him because we love him.
Yeah.
And Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things.
And Fantastic Four.
And Fantastic Four,
Not
which
that
we
we've seen
haven't
it.
seen yet. We can update you on that later.
Quiet Place Day One, he was in that. Up and coming,
yes, he was.
up and coming
Yeah,
guy,
he
Joseph
was.
Quinn. Gladiator 2. So he is pretty up and coming, to be fair.
I'd say that is he coming? He's not necessarily up and coming.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's
don't know.
arrived a little bit. I think.
Yeah, true.
I think he's probably was up and coming, but now he's had enough out where he's like, he's just.
Well, he's not done,
He's
is
just
he?
him.
Yeah,
He's not
he
not
can
been
do
doing
whatever
more
he
film.
wants, kind of thing. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to be in these big things.
Yeah, exactly. So no, and they're all really good in it. You know, Will Poulter's brilliant in it. Joseph Quinn's brilliant in it. Ray Mendoza, who co-direct, or he did the bulk of the directing. I understand that it was Alex Garland. Alex Garland took like a step back from directing,
Right.
and he was almost just kind of advising Ray. So Ray Mendoza, he was one of the only two characters in the film whose name wasn't changed for like privacy reasons. Him and Elliot, who was played by Cosmo Jarvis, and their names were kept true because they were happy to share their story essentially and talk about it. But everybody else's names were changed out of, because I think a lot of them still serve or like continue to serve and, just don't want, their names out there, which is obviously fine. But I think that Ray was a military supervisor on Civil War, which was Alex Garland's film before, which we haven't actually seen. Maybe we should go back and watch that. So he was a military supervisor for that, and that's when they started writing this story because Ray had lived through it. It's his story essentially, or he's one of the people in this story, and that's when they started writing the script, and then he went on to direct it with Alex Garland's help. So there's a lot of different people in this film, but I think that everybody plays their part well. It works with everybody, and I think that it's good. Even though I don't think there's like main people in it even. Like there's main people that we know, like we know Will Poulter, so we're like, oh, it's Will Poulter. Oh, he's there. Oh, he's there again. Yeah. But there's not really like main characters that you're following. You're just following everybody. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, like Will Poulter is kind of the. Like,
well, isn't he he's the leader
like one of the
captains
in
the
that,
squad
in that,
or whatever.
Yeah, and then like Ray Mendoza's stand-in, like the guy playing him is like the comms guy, like he's talking to base, and then I assume Joseph Quinn is one of like the senior people in the team sort of thing. But no, they are really good. Again, because it's such a grounded film. It's just grounded performances. There's no like there's no monologues or anything like that. They're not like crying to the camera. It's all just raw, like, these soldiers are going through it.
Yeah.
They're going through
it's just this is just what happened, you know.
And obviously when they are like, again, the people who get injured in the film, like, very believable. Like, they are in pain, you feel bad for them. Like, the body horror, I guess, if you want to call it that, is very like visceral, like when you see what happens.
I think I'd written this down about like, because there is obviously, it's a film about war. There is some gore in it, and there are some shots of people with their legs blown off and literally like half of their bodies blown off and stuff like that after this bomb goes off partway through the film. And I think that what I wrote down is that, what did I write down?
Consult the notes.
Yes, with the body parts, when after the bomb goes off, it doesn't sugarcoat it, but it also doesn't like big it up. It doesn't gloss over it in a way to say we're not going to show that out of respect. It's like, we're going to show you this, but we're not going to linger on it for ages because it's not necessary for us to linger on it, but we're not also not going to hide it. It's not like, look at the devastation, it's just the person's point of view that you're seeing it from is just looking and going, oh God, and then looking over here and going, oh God. It's more that kind of style rather than, look at this horrible thing that's happening, look at this person who's,
like,
been blown up.
Yeah, it's probably just, again, like, desensitizing like war, isn't it? Like, these guys are doing this job, they're gonna see this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So obviously it is hard, like when it's the people who are injured, obviously it's very awful for them, but like everyone else is just cracking on as normal, trying to like get the medical care and like morphine and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's, again, everyone's just going through the motions. It's not like, oh my God, his legs, what are we gonna do? It's just like,
nobody's saying how awful is this situation, oh my God, I'm so scared, this is horrible. But there's little snippets, like there's a scene, well, it's not even a scene, it's a sentence where one of the guys who's been injured, he says like, they're calling over the radio saying, we've got somebody severely injured here, he's severely injured, we need like to be evacuated. And the guy who is injured, he's saying, who is it that's severely injured? Like, who is it? Is it me? Am I the one who's severely injured? Am I going to die? And they're just going, no, you're fine, it's not you, like, don't worry about it, it's that guy over there, like, it doesn't matter, you don't need to worry about it, you're going to be fine, but we are going to get you out of here, we're going to be evacuated. And it doesn't stop and linger on those moments because there isn't time to, because there isn't time in real life to stop and linger on those moments. We can think, God, isn't that awful? That must be really sad. But there's no music playing over it for you must feel sad about this now. There's nothing like that. It's literally, it's because it's all happening in real time. When they say there's 2 minutes until the evac, there's 2 minutes until the evac, so
which is great.
There's no point. I love stuff like that. absolutely love it when something's in real time, but it's necessary in something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it doesn't stop to linger on those moments to force you to feel something. You just feel something because you're human and you feel things when you see things.
And the film's doing its job well of getting you to do that without pulling at your heartstrings or anything like that.
Or like orchestrating a moment just so that you can feel sad about how awful war is. You know, it's like he does it just by telling the story. You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it's one I highly recommend.
Definitely.
What would you score it?
Do you know what's weird? Because when you were about to make before we filmed this, Michael was putting the scoring together and he was like, "What's your score?" And I was like, "I don't know, like ask me later." Because I feel like I want to, I'm in between a 9 or a 10.
Okay, yeah.
The only reason why I would give it a 9, I don't know why I want to give it a 9. I don't know why I don't want to give it a 10, basically.
Okay, right.
Because when I think about it, there's nothing wrong with this film. Like, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with this film. I didn't enjoy it, but I'm not meant to enjoy it. So it's not like I was like, "Oh my God, what an amazing film. Oh, that was so cool."
Yeah.
It wasn't anything like that, but I've got a lot of respect for the film.
Mm-hmm.
And the performances were great. The script was really good. The way that it was filmed was really good. The fact that it was in real time was really good. The fact that there was no soundtrack and you're just left in these moments. It was all fantastic. So I feel like I should be giving it a 10, but I feel like I want to give it a 9. But maybe that's because I'm not enjoying it. And I feel like I want to give it a 9.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a 10? I just don't know whether it's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no.
But it is in terms of what it's meant to achieve. It achieves it.
Yeah, it's definitely like a 10 out of 10 production-wise.
Yeah.
Like you say, like the different components of the film. But I think it's also one where you can enjoy it like as a first-time watch. Would I ever re-watch it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd watch it if somebody was like, "Oh, I really want to watch that film," and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's on Prime. We've got Prime. Do you want to watch it?"
Yeah.
I'd happily sit through if there was somebody else watching it for the first time, but I wouldn't think, "Oh, do you know what? I've got an hour and a half. I'm going to watch Warfare."
Yeah, I wouldn't add it to like the backlog of things where it's just like, you know, like Big Short, Jurassic Park 3, like those kind of films where it's like, let's pop it on.
We're really
like
exposing ourselves here in terms of what we watch on repeat.
Well, Polar Express, Trading Places. Actually, those are Christmas films.
Those are Christmas films, so we're supposed to watch them all. Oh God, that's where we're exposing ourselves too much there. Yeah.
Dune Part 2, the Dune films, you know, like where it's like, you know, I've got a spare hour and a half, I'll put this on to watch.
Yeah.
So I think I'd give it a 9 just for that, because again, it's a good movie. I'm glad that we've watched a good film.
Yeah.
I think, you know, maybe you could get some like replayability out of watching this film over and over again.
I wonder if you'd like notice different things, or like you'd watch it in a different way, knowing what happens.
But then also films are allowed to be like that, because I'm sure when we get around to watching it, we're not going to probably watch Schindler's List again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we have to, I'm sure we'll watch it. It'll be a great film. Probably never gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
So films are allowed to be.
That's not the point. Yeah, that's not the point. That's not why it's made. It's not made.
But then, like, your scores are subjective to you. So whether if like enjoyability and replayability is a part of that, then that can be built into your score. So I'd say a 9 just to dock it that a little bit, because it's kind of like I've watched it now. Maybe I could never watch it again, or maybe I could watch it, as say, if we're watching it with somebody else. But so what would you?
Yeah, I think maybe. Can I say like 9.5?
I mean, we allowed a 0.5 for Kieran, so I'm sure I can give you one.
Yeah, 9.5. I think I'm going to go with, because I don't want to dock a whole point just because I'm never going to watch it again. You know?
Yeah.
But it is a really good film, and if anybody hasn't watched it yet, I would really recommend watching it. It is. We watched it on Prime. Did we have to pay for it on Prime? Or
no, it's free. It's free.
Well, free in the sense that we have a Prime subscription already, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But no, it is on Prime, so it's definitely worth a watch, and it is only an hour and a half. That is the great thing about hour and a half films. Like it can be 9 o'clock, and you can think, I'm going to watch it.
Don't get me wrong; it still feels like intense.
Yeah,
so maybe it doesn't quite feel like, that flew by.
Yeah.
It is intense viewing for an hour and a half, but it doesn't feel slow. Like that's the worst hour and a half thing, is when it's an hour and a half, but it feels like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely go watch this film. It is really, really powerful, really, really good bit of bit of filmmaking.
Good bit of cinema.
Good bit of cinema, yes.
Yeah. This is like proper cinema and what films are about. You know, it's not about the big budget blockbusters that are only really there to make money. It's there for the stories that are meant to be told and for people to hear. And I think that's what this film is. And it achieves what it... I think that's what it's set out to do, although I imagine that it is, having listened to interviews with Alex Garland. Why can't I say his name?
I don't know.
Alex Garland. When you listen to interviews with him, it's clear that he just wants to just tell stories, you know. So
we should support it, shouldn't we? We should support this kind of film.
And maybe we should go back and watch Civil War.
Maybe.
Have we heard that that's good?
I heard mixed things about it. I think.
Let us know whether it's good. Let us know whether we should watch it.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, to be fair. Are there any other Alex Garland films we should check out? Or any war films we should check out?
Yeah.
We should definitely go back to Band of Brothers as well at some point.
We
had some comments on that. To watch that. But maybe we'll continue our streak of watching good things now for a few episodes. Maybe we won't have so many divisive things to talk about. But I think that's been it for this episode of the Cinematic Trinity Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next episode. In that meantime, though, I've been Michael.
And I've been Tula.